Welcome back to what is one of my new favorite tracks. Absolutely love this shit. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I have a pretty sweet video for you today. A lot of mayhem and a lot of terrorism from a certain somebody who you may know if you've watched the channel for a bit. Negative 4.75 for my brake bias. That's what I ran for most of these races. I would occasionally turn it backwards for the S's and back up to the front for the final arena, which we're actually going to skip the S's on this specific lap. I do want to show you guys the arena line though, like how close you have to get to that wall. This is the final corner of the track, and you truly have to use all of what you think would be an off track, but it's actually not. You can drive all the way out there. So let's get into the race. This was my qualifying, and it was a 145.37, which is, or 39, which is actually a terrible time. Put us P3 because this was the first race of the week. Nobody had driven yet. We have William and Jed behind us, and look at these liveries, like absolutely disgusting. William's in the front, Jedediah is in the back, and you will very quickly be able to tell the difference in race just based off of their driving. So let's get underway. Starting in P3, we've got Bernardo on pole there, immediately pulling to the inside to try and cut off P2. Doesn't quite get it, and they're 3 wide behind already because Jed and William had a pretty bad start. Car number 9 straight up the middle of both of them. They're 3 wide behind. They're 2 wide ahead of me. I'm kind of just vibing out the situation. Car number 9 pulls to the inside ahead of Will. Will moves to the middle, and they are still 3 wide into T1. Meanwhile, I'm watching Bernardo and Juan up ahead fight. Try and follow Bernardo through the inside, just barely finding space for the first chicane, and we go side by side with Juan. Will has found his way right behind us. We get a really good exit because we were able to open up our steering more than Juan out of that first apex, who is defending Will super tight on the inside. Gonna force Will to try and make a move around the outside of turn 4, which we are heading towards right now, and Will is just gonna do that. Like, what are you doing, Will? I actually know what he's doing. He didn't have like any practice, so he was just driving like an idiot. And to be honest, this is a problem, iRacing, because Will just went from P4 or P5 to P1, so he completely, I'm rewinding it, this is into turn 4, so he's on the outside of Juan, and he looks to the inside super late, doesn't get the car stopped, says fuck it, gets on throttle, almost murders Bernardo, completely cuts that chicane, and he does get a slowdown, but after serving the slowdown, he's going to remain in front of Bernardo and me. So even with, I think it was like a 4-second slowdown, I mean, he probably gained 5 seconds overall, or realistically probably like 3 seconds. Either way, iRacing, this track is broken. Like, you should not be able to do that. And you can do that in multiple places. It's pretty fucked up. You guys need to fix this. So William is in the lead right now. Not legitimately, but he is in the lead. Bernardo in P2, and he's right on Will's tail, as I think Will was trying to slow down and give these positions back. It just makes it so much worse that he is running that, like, ridiculously disgusting livery in P1 at the moment, and he's going to try and give the positions back on lap 2, down the straight. He's going to slow down on the inside. Bernardo's going to run into the back of him. I can't explain that. I'm not going to try to. Going into the first corner, I'm going to look to go deep around the outside and try and claim the inside for the first chicane. So going around the outside, Juan very deep behind, driving off of the track. That gives me the inside for the first apex and the inside for the second as I cut completely across. That slows me and Will down a ton, and Bernardo actually comes through the inside. So we're 3 wide now, heading into the second chicane. Jedediah on board with him right now, right behind us. 3 wide, I'm in the middle, not exactly where you want to be, but I had been practicing braking really late for this chicane, and I'm going to try and put that into action, almost pit maneuvering myself against Will, who is kind of forced to cut that apex, and I find space up ahead of both of them, pitting Bernardo and Will side by side against each other, and allowing me to break free. Thank fuck. So I'm going to try and open up this gap if possible, because this is straight terrorism. And to be fair, this track does kind of promote these kind of things because the track limits are so broken, but regardless, this should never happen in a race, and I don't want to be involved. So I'm going to try my hardest to pull away from these guys. Bernardo is extremely fast. He is literally like my coach, or I'm trying to get him to constantly be my coach, so he's probably going to catch me. William avoiding track limits at all costs, driving all of the way around the outside. Jedediah is under a lot of pressure from Juan, and Juan is going to look up the inside of the arena, brake late. Jed's going to back out and look for potentially a switchback, not quite get it done. Either way, the little bit of fighting is hopefully slowing people down just by the fact that they're having pressure from each other, and I'm able to pull an 8/10 gap on lap 3 going into the first chicane. Just need to take it cleanly and continue to have a decent run. But motherfucker, that's Will. He just cut the first chicane. And this time the slowdown is enough that, I mean, it's like 5.5 seconds or something, so goodbye. That is a worthy penalty. iRacing did good with that one. If you guys don't know who Will is, he's super fast, but this guy can be an absolute idiot at times, and this was one of those moments. Really fast, really great driver, but he's still serving a slowdown on the apex of the double apex right-hander. He's going to just about pit maneuver Juan, who, to be fair, Juan could have gone around the outside. It's a tough situation because I know that Will had to serve that, but then Jed is trying to go on the inside of Will. Juan is still there, and Jed is just going to pit himself into a wall, and it is just nothing good happening back here. So Jed is dead. That's a dead Jed. Juan is back into P3, and Will is on his tail now with a fully served penalty, so he's free to just put in the pace of, you know, try and make a move, free to race basically into turn 1 on lap number 4. Will's going to look up the inside of Juan. Don't think he's going to get that one stopped. Seemed like pretty late braking, and sure enough, Juan is going to cut underneath him. The car who was in P5 looking to take P4 from Will around the outside of the first chicane, and he's going to get the position for now, track position, but a bad run, but will allow Will to fire back at him. And here comes car number 7, pushing car number 4 to try and solidify P5 for him, pitting Will against car number 7 now side by side into the second chicane. 7 backs out early. Will has the inside for this, should be fairly cut and dry, and he's going to maintain P5 for now. If you guys are wondering why I'm not showing like a ton of my race right now, it's because me and Bernardo were basically just like trading lap times right now at the front, and I was just able to stay ahead of him for the time being. Now Will is looking up the inside into turn 1, and the car who was in P4 just a minute ago gonna give that up to Will, backing out early and letting Will move back up into his starting position of P4 as he makes his way through the first chicane and into the second chicane on the next lap. Big moment. This is where Will completely cut it on the first lap, and he's just going to lock up the rears, try and do it again, and end up losing grip through the grass, sliding out, and deciding then to drive into a wall. So great stuff. From this point on, I think Will's mental is just completely broken. He tries to drive out of the track, but there's an invisible wall, so as everybody flies past him, he's going to back up against the wall, scraping his car all of the while, and rejoin the track in last place. Yeah, not the greatest performance from Will. Like I said, if you watch the channel, you know that he actually is an amazing driver, and when he is clean and fair, great driver, but this type of stuff is, Will, it's truly uncalled for if you're watching this. He then decides to try and drift like the entire track, and I honestly don't even want to show that. But he ends up hooking up a pretty nice line through the arena, and I do want to show that. So into the first turn of the arena chicane, I'm assuming, yeah, he's clutch kicking there, trying to get the rear end out. Doesn't, I mean, it's connected. It's a very, very slow drift, but this is a hard car to drift. He's trying to go left, right, around the final corner. He is keeping that drift all of the way around until he is looking to go into the wall in Alt F4s. Good stuff, Will. Great stuff. Hope to never see that type of driving from you again. Final lap, I am in the lead. We managed to hold off Bernardo, basically just because I felt really good in the stadium. I'm pretty sure he was faster everywhere else in this race, but I had a lot of work to do on my pace. Crossing the line in P1, our first race of the season. It was a win. Absolutely amazing stuff. And into the results, pretty good start to the season, 36 IR, and actually gained a bit of SR2, which I know I always say it doesn't matter, but it's cool when it goes green. I do like that. William settling for P17. Now I want to show you guys a lap, and as always, this is not a lap guide. This is just one of my laps with telemetry. So this is in a practice session. We just crossed the line to start a lap, and I'm gonna walk you guys through basically the entire lap. Heading towards turn 1, it's a really, really long straight. You want to, you have a lot of time to think about what you're about to do, but braking just after the 5, or kind of at the 5, but you want to peak after the 5. I do not open up this first chicane. I get my car in the middle of the track, not to the right side, and you can cut a ton of these curbs as long as you keep one tire on that red and white curbing. You are all good. Into the next chicane, I like to brake really late here again. Try and brake after the 2. I do, at least, cutting this first one, staying in the middle of the track, and you can slow the car down a lot, give it a lot of angle. The front tire will bite. Same thing here, turn in early, get those outside tires loaded up, and they will just carry you all of the way around. You can get on throttle pretty early. S's, super important part of this track. Getting up onto the green, braking on the green, cutting across. You optimally want to hook a tire on that first curb. I missed it. Second curb, outside tire just barely on it. Third curb, inside tire hooked. Opening up the final bit of the S's. Tons of rotation if you get on throttle early there with a lot of slip angle, and as long as you stay on the curbs, you're good for that entire sector. Braking before the curbing starts here, cutting all of this. Left tire kind of pushed up against that sausage curb, not opening up this corner all the way because I'm going so slow. You just don't, I don't think you need to take all that distance. Cutting over that sausage curb, using all of the track and bringing it home. So it's a really, really fun track. Like, there is just so much going on through these chicanes. 144.47, basically a second faster than my qualifying for that last race. And we're gonna hop into qualifying for the next race now. And this is the end of my first qualifying lap. Wasn't going too hot, but it's good to have a lap on the board so that you can like really push for your second lap and feel good about it. But coming through the final corner, I'm going to get on throttle a bit too early, not enough rotation, into the wall I go, and that is going to destroy this lap. It actually invalidates, so this lap won't count, and I have one more opportunity to try and get a clean lap in. So this is the final lap of quali for me, and heading into the first chicane, it seems like it's going to go right at first. It's actually really clean through the first corner, opened it up a decent amount, kind of missed that first apex, and it leads to me trying to hustle the car too much, getting unsettled, and oh my god, like look at this. Over that second curb, the car gets thrown out, and that rear right tire just, I mean, it felt like an off track. It looks very much like an off track, like it was literally off of the track, but somehow it wasn't an off track. I don't know how. It's because this track is broken. The track limits are broken. iRacing, please try and rejuvenate the track limits here before the next season at least. I don't know. I lost a bunch of time from that though, so the rest of this lap was basically me limping home, trying not to get an off track. I just wanted a clean qualifying lap, so I'm not starting at the very back. And the S's were actually felt pretty good. My arena section is typically my best sector. I missed that first apex a little bit. You can get like 2 tires over the sausage, but we were still able to bring it home for a salvageable 45.67, which is not very good. It's over a second slower than that lap I showed you just a minute ago, but it still put us P2 with Kyle McGuinness from Scotland right behind us. Car number 8, rocking the pole racing blue livery, absolutely sexy, and we're starting in the front row somehow, so we're on the inside for the front row. Gareth Higgins ahead of us. The starts on this track feel weird because the car just has no power. It feels so slow, and it is so slow. Gareth is going to pull ahead of us, which is going to give us slip and kind of help protect us from Kyle. And like I talked about late braking in that lap that I just showed you. I don't know why, but I love braking late on this track, and into turn 1 around the outside from a 10th back, I'm just gonna fucking send it and really try and claim the inside for the first chicane, like going super deep but keeping it on track. That gives me the inside for the first apex of the chicane. He has the second one, but typically on the outside for that second apex you get a better exit, and sure enough I do. I'm a bit behind him exiting it, but I have a really good speed, so we're going to be side by side into the next chicane, and same thing here from me. I'm just going to try and brake as late as possible, especially for the first lap, and I get a nose ahead. He's going to back out. Actually, he looks for a switchback, which opens up an opportunity for Kyle, and he jumps at it, ends up killing Gareth and killing himself in the process. I didn't tell him to do that. Gareth gets thrown into a situation that's very similar to that picture of like that white girl with a bunch of black dudes around her, and yep, we are basically home free. I mean, we have a 3-second gap now, not even halfway through lap 1. Couldn't have gone better for me, honestly. And Gareth is in P4, so he's got 2 people ahead of him. And from this point, I just had to basically not spin out and not get like a major slowdown, and I managed to do that. Crossing on to the final lap, we still had a large gap of 8 seconds at this point, so we were actually pulling away. And on top of that, Gareth is under pressure from Eric Rivera, who has made his way up through the field and is now looking for a last lap move. And I just wanted you guys, I wanted to show you guys this POV because I think this was a really good battle, and I think that this track does open up really, really good racing. So into the first chicane, and Eric looking to kind of do what I did on lap 1, where he looks to clean the inside and he kind of forces it open. Well done, to be honest, but it does make a narrow entry, wide exit for Gareth, ends up running into Eric, pushing him off the track. Both of them go off the track there, but Eric has the inside for the next, well, it looked like he was going to have the inside. Gareth just completely cuts across his nose there. It wasn't clear, but nobody dies, so I mean, ballsy move that ended up working out for Gareth there, and into the second chicane. Gareth now has the inside. Eric looking to go deep and claim the inside for the second apex, which it looks like he's going to get, but Gareth opening it up a ton, getting a switchback, and my God, absolutely beautiful stuff. I think from that point, Eric just kind of sat back and let that one run out and ended up finishing this race in P3. So good battle through those first couple of chicanes. That's a lapped car ahead of them that you're seeing right now into the arena, and he wasn't able to close up that gap. So as they bring it home in second and third, I'm going to go ahead and finish out this race in yet another stunning victory. Like, oh my God, dude. Oh, God. I mean, not a lot of people were driving this track, to be fair, but I was still having a ton of fun. So, it is another victory. As you saw, very rare that you see me gain SR in a video. Even more rare that you see me gain it twice in a row. And this is not the track where I thought I would be gaining SR, because you kind of have to cut like everything. Now, next race, we're starting in P2 as car number 3. Behind us, we have an esports driver, I believe. He drives for Arctic Sim Sport, whoever that is. And then we have Corey Lazarus, who, if you've watched the channel, we've raced against him a lot. He is extremely fast in P4. So starting in P2 with a good time, but let's see how that pans out, because really fast drivers here at the front of the field. Now, our getaway is pretty good. Nobody's is amazing. I have the inside for T1, so if I play this right, I should be able to at least hold P2. I'm being boxed in really quickly by Corey and Linus. Car 1 and 2 up the inside of T1. I'm gonna fucking send it, baby. Late braking every time. I've fully claimed that. I'm gonna try and get my car ahead before the chicane. Just about managed to clear the pole sitter and move up into the lead of the race myself. Corey and Linus are side by side. Car number 10 comes swinging around the outside, actually goes side by side with Corey and clears him before moving into T4. So Corey actually moving backwards, which is huge for me, because in my belief, I mean, I think Corey is probably the all-around fastest driver here on the grid. He's usually who I am trying to keep up with. I think I have the benefit of driving this track probably a bit more than he has, so hopefully I can use my advantage that I have right now to bring home a 3P, which I don't know if we've ever seen on the channel before. Into the S's for the first time. It's a bit difficult with cold tires. You're relying a lot more on using these curbs correctly, because it's really easy to wash out wide and just not find the rotation where you need it. But we end up hooking it up super cleanly, and we actually gained a 10th to Thomas, who seems like he's about to be under some pressure from Linus going into the arena. About a 10th and a half, maybe 2 tenths between the two of them as they make their way into the final sector. And I unfortunately am going to start to lose that gap that I have been building over this first lap by completely missing the first apex of the chicane, which loses you about, I mean, it loses you at least a 10th in the chicane, but it also gives you a really bad exit towards the final corner, or a final series of corners. So we fall back into the grips of, I think his name is Thomas here, who started on pole, and we're going to do some swerving down the straight. People say, you know, they get mad about swerving, but if you're far ahead of somebody and you're just trying to brake slip, I'm pretty sure that's not against the rules. Now, they are thankfully going to go side by side as Linus looks to dive up the inside of T1, and it doesn't do much for me, but it keeps me pretty safe through that first sector, completely going off the track on the exit, trying to take an advantageous off track there and help build that gap back up. We've got it almost to about half of a second again as we enter into the arena at the end of lap number 2, but I'm going to do the same thing. I don't know what was going on with me. I was just completely whiffing that apex, and that's typically like my best corner on the track. That's usually where I have an advantage over other people, so it really hurt to mess that up twice in a row and basically kill my chances of running away with P1, as I have totally let P2 back into this fight, and I'm going to hold the inside into T1 on lap 3, because I know that slip is kicking in, and if I don't hold the inside, he's going to. He can look around the outside. I'm going to stay really narrow, try and create conflicting lines so I can cut all of the way across, and he backs out. He's kind of forced to look for the switchback at that point, which allows me to claim the inside for all of those corners, including the inside for this next chicane, and it is slowing him down, so P3 is now being put onto his tail. I'm going defensive, slowly moving over to the middle of the track as I realize I think the fight is going to be between the two of them and not me, and sure enough it is, as Linus looks to go up the inside, just teases it, and it throws car number 4 off so much so that he locks the rears, slides out. I went super deep through there as well, so I was losing time, probably got caught staring in my mirrors, and I'm going to defend the double right as Linus is right on our tail, and really nice save from car number 4 there, who slid out into that second chicane, but has only fallen down to P3, so he didn't actually lose a ton of time there. We are under some pretty heavy pressure from Linus, who is tailing us through the S's, and the most crucial part of the S's, I think, is this right-hander right here. If you miss this, it really fucks you up, and I'm going to completely whiff it. You can see just how much faster Linus goes through there. Also sets him up for a better exit towards the arena, and I know that I have to go defensive. I'm on the inside. If I, you can go around the outside here, but I think you have a better chance of defending the position successfully if you stay on the inside. I'm going to do the same thing, try and cut across so that I have the inside for the first apex of the chicane. He could go around the outside and make it, and technically get the inside for the second bit of the chicane, but contact from behind as everybody gets kind of backed up there, and he's spun backwards onto the apex and gets smacked again by another car. It's just all bad. They're 4 wide going through the final corner, penultimate corner, excuse me. Who cares what corner it is? Doesn't matter. They're all dead. They exploded in a great explosion of death. Lap number 4, I'm basically gone at this point. All of that mayhem has put Corey as P2 behind us, a lapped car coming out of the pits. Don't know what happened to him, but we have about, I'd say, 8/10 maybe to Corey there, about a second. And over the course of the race, Corey's going to close that up. So lap number 8, he's on my tail, and to be honest, he had been on my tail for quite some laps, but we were making good progress as a duo, so unless I made like a huge mistake, I don't think he was actually going to go for that move. He seemed to be trusting my pace at this point. However, a big mistake would come from me. Lap number 9 into that second chicane, just completely lock my rears and decide to just go deep instead of sliding my car, which allows for the switchback from Corey, and he had been so polite to me through this whole race that I decided, let's just let him take the lead for now. There's still, lap number 9 out of 14, 5.5 laps left, so a lot of time to make a move back. All I had to do was stay in his slip, and I felt like I could pretty easily get a move done into the first or second chicane. That's typically, that's where I felt the strongest. Even into the arena, or the first apex of the chicane in the arena was another good place to make a move, because a lot of people opened up that corner a lot. I did not. Now, skipping ahead to lap number 13, so quite a bit later, and you'll see that I haven't actually gotten any closer to Corey, but he makes a big mistake. Same one as me, but he actually locks up his tires. And I definitely could have taken more advantage of that. I slowed down a lot. I probably could have looked for a switchback there, but I was thinking that I was really thinking that what that would do is just get me close enough that I could make a move into the first chicane on the final lap, which I didn't, and now you're watching us go into the second chicane, and I'm still not close enough. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go deep through the second chicane, and I just was, I don't know, it wasn't, it was all bad from me. It was just bad decision making. Whenever I had an opportunity, I didn't take it. I think I was being too polite, not aggressive enough, and Corey kind of just, on the final lap at least, totally gapped me. So he's got over half of a second, I think, pulling out of the final sector here. He's going to open it up to about 7/10. So we're going to cross in P2. Couldn't get the 3P, but winning is not everything, and I'm honestly really lucky that I got those 2 wins in the first place, so I still couldn't be happier with that. P2, cannot complain. The 3P for the P1 did not happen, sadly, and so did the 3P for gaining SR not happen. So that's red in that, which means that I'm gonna say it doesn't matter again. If you guys liked this video, want to see more and support the channel, click the playlist in the description, the video on your screen, and subscribe.